Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about really the controllables of a construction project. Now, again, I'm coming from this from the design side of the table, so we want to make sure that really I say that up front that this is my experience of working with contractors, doing design build projects, all from the design side of those projects. One of the big things that I really want to focus on today is more so like what can you control in the project. So in thinking about like how projects happen, what you can win, how you win, how you continue to get more work, win more projects, do more good things for all of your projects, is knowing that this is all about controllables, right? You can't always control when a client is going to be doing their next project. You can't control when a hospital's budgets come out. You can't control the student enrollment at a university and whether they need to build more dorms or not. You can only control one once you win the projects, how you execute them, your management of them, your workforce development, like all those things are what you can control. So we want to make sure that as we walk through this and do these projects that we're controlling what we're able to control. Now, a lot of this is obviously and clearly much harder than the simple things that I'm going to say in this podcast, but we want to talk about controllables. So something that we can and can't control is supply chain. It's probably one of the biggest things or pieces that really we've not been able to control in recent years. So with that, like, how do you handle supply chain disruptions? How do you handle supply chain problems? And honestly, I have a ton of friends who have really used this time to get better. Honestly, they've found different suppliers. They've found different ways to either build gear or do their own sheet metal work or what have you, right? They've made opportunities from the supply chain problems that other firms end up having, right? When other firms can't deliver, when they can't meet timelines or schedule, they've found ways to get it done. And it's pretty impressive, honestly, what they've been able to do. They've been able to win millions of dollars in work because of that. And so we want to make sure that even though there are supply chain issues, things that you can't control, it's also figuring out, what you're able to control within the project. So I just want to make sure that we're, thinking about what we're able to control on a project, what is honestly like how we're able to think through it and do those projects. And that's just at the end of the day part of what happens. So we want to make sure that we're basically doing everything that we can to control those things in supply chain. Other one is like manpower and resource allocation. So this goes to really a lot of training, a lot of things that we've talked about here in the past, but is, how do you train your new people? Do you train your apprentices or new designers, engineers? Do you train them kind of one thing at a time and really help them along, right? You can only learn so much at a given period of time. So you want to make sure that you kind of ease people into each and every one of these things, right? How to install a light, how to bend conduit, how to pull wire. Those are complete, separate, unique tasks that honestly is not going to be something that somebody is going to learn all of them all at once. But as we do this, you want to make sure that those people are learning that specific task as you teach it. So like in engineering is, hey, here's Revit. Here's how to open a project. Here's how to then, draft. Here's the content that we use. Here's how to put that content in. Here's what that content means. And you just step through each and every one of those little pieces of the project and then create videos for this, create the training material for it, create the onboarding for it. And then after each and every one of those projects that person does, what I end up doing is reviewing it, and I review it by opening the project, turning on Zoom, just creating a meeting with myself, recording the meeting, and then go through, review it, talk through the review of the project. And now I've created additional training material for that person to review on each and every one of the projects. And then this again builds the training library for future projects. And you kind of leave some names out when you do the reviews, but it's like you just walk through the project of, hey, this is not good, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, here's the review of the project, we want to make sure we cover these things in the future, so that it doesn't happen again. And some of this can be as simple as like, this is how we do arrows, or this is where we put detail items, or we want to make sure that we're not covering up like walls when we do annotations, or this is how we do our arrow leaders for keynotes, things like that, right? Simple quote unquote things, but really make a huge impact and difference when it comes to the entirety of the project. So we just want to make sure that that is clear, but this also builds a training library for future folks as we come down. This isn't as easy in the field, but you could still do it, and just do it with an iPhone, right? And have your foreman or whoever, somebody record it, have them upload it to your shared drive. And from there, you can create sheets and checklists and everything else out of, that simple video. So really, when we think about manpower and resource allocation, it's who do you have available to do the project? Who do you have that is skilled enough in each given area? And who can you put on it, right? And then who's available? So we kind of do this intuitively for a lot of projects. It's like, well, they're available, or we don't have anybody else, so they're just gonna do it. And then they get stuck out on an island and they sink or swim, right? They figure it out or they don't. And really, the best organizations end up putting training content together, training material, help them along, train them, teach them, improve them, are patient with, their new guys, their apprentices, their just fresh out of college guys, whatever, in like the engineering fields. And we just want to bring people along, right? Coach them, improve them, share with them, hey, this is a way to improve. Hey, you did really good here. And again, just show them that their work is valuable, that it means a lot to the firm and the betterment of everybody on the team. And so we want to just continue to improve and reinforce what we're doing, helping guys, along and improve, and just do good work at the end of the day. It really goes a long way to just show how much that you care, that you're trying to invest in them and their development, reward them with raises, things like that as they progress. And it just really goes a long way to like show you care, show that your dedication and drive to each and every one of those people. And so it's really cool to basically have that for guys, showcasing your investing in their development, right? They gain skills, they're able to put that in the marketplace and everything else. So as we think about like manpower resource allocation, is if you're not leveling up your entire team, if you're not developing their skills, if you're not improving who they are, then one, they're probably going to be likely to leave. Two, you're just not improving your own team, your own capabilities within your internal team. So when that happens, you're not winning as much, you're not doing as much, and honestly, it shows, right? It'll show in what you're able to do down the line. It'll show in your recruitment numbers. It'll show in your attracting talent numbers, your retention numbers for that. So, and then the next thing that this kind of goes into is like speed, right? Are they able to move through a project quickly because they're talented and skilled enough to do the project as it needs to be done? Obviously, you're going to have training and onboarding of other team members and that whole thing. And then giving them the resources to be successful. So with this like whole thing in manpower, resource allocation, resource development. Like, your people are still your biggest asset. And so the more skills that they have, the more resources that you're giving to them and training. And some of this is like zero cost kind of stuff. Like, yes, it takes some time, but there's no like additional cost necessarily to doing that. Most of this can be done on a phone with a Zoom or Teams subscription that you already have, right? You're not necessarily paying any more dollars to these things. You're just taking some time to do the thing that you're already going to do, talk through a review of a project, host that, allow folks to view it, see it, improve and get that feedback on each and every project. So it's super important that we do this and provide feedback to our team members as they go through projects. It's just going to help their development. It'll help you move faster. It'll help you bring on more team members because you're just going to build a training library, and that's going to help you as you progress through everything. And then this ultimately comes down to speed, right? Are you able to produce projects quickly, turn things around quickly, and are your fee structures incentivized and aligned with turning projects around quickly? If you're billing hourly, then it's really not in your best interest to, one, bill hourly. Two, it kind of defaults or penalizes you for being more productive, right, and effective. So fixed fee projects are kind of the way to go. In this regards, you're now aligning incentives in that, hey, here's a fixed price, client has a fixed price. You are able to, the faster you move, the more money you're going to make on it, right? Because there is a time for dollars equation in here, but it's also that you're able to do more projects in a given period of time. You can now, with one team member, they can do multiple projects or more projects than they did before with the better tools and design criteria, or they're just better at their job. So this allows you to move faster, do more projects, take on more clients, and then effectively you serve them better. So you get more clients from serving your existing clients well. They tell other clients. And so it just produces that whole flywheel. The last one, really what you can control, that I wanted to talk about today and in this short little episode is billing, invoicing, collections. So this is probably one of the other hardest things within construction, really any business, but again, design, construction industry is getting money out of people, right? You're going to bill on your 30-day cycles or at the end of a project. And so you want to make sure that you're staying on top of your accounts receivable and understanding who is paying and who is not paying their bills. And then really when people aren't paying their bills, how long do you let it go before you just stop servicing those clients and then get them to pay? So this is a big deal within firms and within the industry, is a lot of people just for whatever reason don't pay their bills. And so we want to make sure that we work with people that do pay their bills, or if they aren't paying their bills, that we stop working and servicing them until they come current, right? And there's some time frame that you're going to agree on with your executive team, or that's in your contracts, whatever, that say, hey, if you're not going to pay us within X number of days, that we're going to stop working on anything until you're brought current, right? And then you repeat the cycle again, bringing them current on the rest of their projects. So this is something you're always going to deal with. It's always going to be a part of the entire process. That's why liens exist in construction, is to get money out of people, so they can open their buildings. So something to think about is, equipping your PMs basically with who's paid, who's not paid. Are we stopping work? Are we continuing work on any given project? Because honestly, that's super important to making sure that you get paid on projects as they progress. So huge thing here to keep in mind and think about as you progress on each and every one of your projects. And with all this and project management and resource allocation and billing and collections, really the plan's probably the easiest thing to put down, right? These things are going to happen in this order. This is how they're going to happen. This is what we expect. And then it's kind of like that getting by. It's the time delay in all of this. Like, you want stuff to be happening. You want to be pushing it forward. You want to be moving faster. At least that's my mentality around a lot of these things. So when we start to think about, can we move this faster or not? some of it is just like letting the guys work, right? You don't, if somebody said it takes 5 days to do a given job and you check in on like day 3 and you're like, hey man, why aren't you done? Why aren't we done faster? It's like, dude, I told you this would take 5 days. It's day 3. Like, give me 2 more days and it'll be done, right? So giving folks the time to do the job, to do the work as they're, outlined to do it. Sometimes that's kind of the hardest thing. It's just letting your guys do the work, do the job, checking in on them, if they need anything, right? Not, hey, why aren't you done? But, hey, do you need anything? Is there anything we can do? How's it going? That kind of thing. So there's ways to do this in a way that really shows the guys that you support them and not just micromanaging and up their ass about every single project. So something to really think about as you lay down these plans, put them into motion, and execute on them. Like, some of these things are going to take time. Some of these things you do have to push and fight and, claw for. Other things, like, you just got to let the process work, let your team do their job. And, that's a huge part of it, honestly. So, in these next few episodes, as I outline this kind of little mini series here, if you will, is really going into more project management stuff. I know we talked about it some today with, supply chain, manpower, speed, billing, things you can do on a project. But really talking about project management. And it's going to be one of these things with project management that we'll talk about, how to get through it effectively. We'll talk about accounting, the numbers that you need to know and what you should be apprised of for you as both on your individual projects, so as a project manager or as a project executive or as an owner of a firm, right? The numbers that you need to really have in mind for those levels within the firm and what you can do to improve them. Training, we just really talked about. I'll kind of dedicate some pieces more to training, that camcorder method, procedures and playbooks, how we go about that stuff, and then sales, bid management, and then some design tools. So at the end of the day, like, we want to outline all of these really function areas within a firm, because it's super important to understand, like, these are all the areas that you're going to have to work on, and you're going to have to pick one at a time and really just hammer on what's the process, what's the system for this given area of the firm. And some of these things for, like, accounting, it's like, hey, I need these numbers, and just give them to me weekly, right? That's an email. It's done for you as a project executive and an owner. And then it's up to your accounting team to be able to pull those numbers so that they can give them to you, so that you can keep and be apprised of those numbers and check on really the financial health of the firm. So these are, again, hugely important things to pay attention to be aware of. And as we progress down kind of this little mini series here in project management, design tools, accounting, numbers for construction, we just want to make sure that we're giving you the information as we grow and scale our companies. And we're taking on people in the engineering firm, we're hiring a ton, and we're growing super fast, which is really cool to see. So a lot of these are very top of mind for me, and how we're growing the firm, developing people, bringing them on, onboarding them, and really improving their skills, their abilities. And then for us, that allows us to do more, offer more services, turn things around faster for clients. More clients come to us, and kind of everybody wins through that whole cycle. So we'll pass along those lessons and how you can do that too. So with that, guys, again, for supply chain, there's going to be things that you can't control. Manpower and resource allocation, there's going to be things that you can't control there, but it's doing your best to, attract, develop, and retain talent. And if people are leaving you, if guys are really washing apprentices or people out of your firm and program, there ultimately is something wrong with that individual, to where if, people are coming in, they work under somebody, and you're washing out basically more apprentices than anybody else on the team. Right. So like if, for example, if a given guy gets, let's say 3 apprentices a year, but really goes through 5 of them, right? Cause all 3 turn over, and another guy goes through maybe 3, right? Where those 3 just stay, they develop, they become, apprentice or journeyman, right? They get their cards. all that, then hey, now you have this guy is solid. He trained 3 guys. 3 guys made it all the way through. This guy over here washed 3 guys out, or 2 guys, and had to replace them. So he went through 5 people. So now you had the increased cost of hiring and training 2 more people that your other guy didn't, right? So, and if you have that year over year, that very much compounds. Now you're going to have a labor problem down the road because you're only going to have so many people in population within a given community. And so, it starts to really become a problem. So think about that from your team. And if you're washing guys out, if you're really going through turnover and burnout, whatever else on your team, think about that and do track those numbers. So with that, guys, that is going to be this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. And until next time.